Hello and welcome to the latest video interview. I'm Ben Colclough, with me is Weal, Head of Valuations at Ascend, and Les is going to give a market update. So Les, how's the year unfolding for airlines and for investors?
As we approach the middle of 2010 and the important summer season in the Northern Hemisphere, I think it's fair to say that we've seen the airline industry certainly turn a corner. Whether the corner's a sharp right-hand turn or a more gentle bend, I think it's a bit too early to say. I'm quite reassured by the measured response that the airlines have shown to the recovery. They're being very circumspect in adding capacity back into the market, trying to drive up yields. But obviously that probably limits the demand for aircraft, and certainly we're not seeing any significant improvement in lease rates and values for most of the popular aircraft types. In fact, I think for some of the out-of-production aircraft types, I think it's fair to say that we're still seeing values and lease rates move south as airlines better match their demand and supply requirements. The other source of demand for aircraft is obviously from the aviation finance community, and we're certainly seeing a lot of renewed interest in the sector, and most recently we've seen 2 new leasing companies enter the market. This again is positive news, albeit the demand for aircraft from this sector is slightly different to the motivations from the airlines. Nevertheless, we are seeing some new funds and financing become available primarily for new equipment, and again that has implications for the older types. But again, this is positive for the industry, and people see this as obviously an opportunity to buy close or at the bottom of the market, with an opportunity for upsides 3 or 4 years down the road, whenever that may be. If you'd seen the recent Ascend webcast, you know we devote a lot of time and effort and opinions on what may be happening to the current generation of narrow-body aircraft types if and when the 2 principal manufacturers re-engine their programs or develop a new product. I thought for this brief presentation we'd look at another sector completely, namely the wide-bodies, and principally the older out-of-production wide-body types, which have really been under pressure through this downturn, but are perhaps even more so recently because of announced plans from some major airlines in terms of fleet disposals. Principally talking about the 747-400 and the A340 family. The common thread with those types, the fact they're both 4-engined aircraft, and they've really been impacted by the performance and availability of the wide-body twins, either the A330 family or the 777 family, and the larger versions of that aircraft type is particularly impacting the 747-400. The 747-400 really had its heyday in the early 90s when it really was the queen of the skies. But more recently, airlines have been moving into either the 380, or perhaps more importantly, the 777-300ER. However, if that was not enough downward pressure on values, the bankruptcy of JAL and their decision to exit from the type completely, placing over 30 aircraft on the market, has really added another notch of pressure to the values and lease rates for this aircraft type. A lot of people thought exit strategy for this aircraft type was to convert them to freight, but quite clearly the freight market, albeit is recovering, has too much capacity at the moment, and the freight conversions for the 747-400 have dried up, and little prospects of there being demand from that sector for at least another 2 or 3 years. So unfortunately I think for the 747-400 it may be in a downward spiral with little hope of recovery if and when the economic rebound really takes hold and airlines look to add capacity back into the market. For the 747-400 we see perhaps some roles in high density routes, but again at very low values. But I think part out may be the more favoured solution for a lot of the redundant passenger aircraft that will enter in the market in the next 2 to 3 years. The A340 family, particularly the 500 and the 600, are the other types which you really feel have become the losers in this downturn. Airbus will only now build this aircraft to order, and we think it's unlikely that airlines will place an order for these aircraft types, given where we are in the cycle and what new products are around the corner. The 340, 500, 600s have been in production for less than 10 years, and in our view haven't built up the critical mass which is important to maximise residual value potential. The aircraft was Airbus's response to the 777 family, but quite clearly the 4 engines have not put it in a good light against the twin 777 family of aircraft types. Unfortunately, the aircraft is with a lot of operators who are already lined up fleet replacements, and it's difficult to envisage where all these aircraft will go over the coming years as the new wide-body families enter the market at the beginning of the next decade. So unfortunately, I think this could be a time that we may have to reassess our base values. As I said before, it hasn't had the 12-year production run, which we think is a minimum for most aircraft types. And unfortunately, I think this means that we will see perhaps a permanent sea change in the values of these aircraft types as we move forward from here.
Thank you very much, Les. Thanks for your insights, and thank you for joining us, and hopefully see you again soon.